Oh, hey, it's me, Staria. Quick question, which one looks better? Now, if you're wondering why I'm getting all dressed up, it's simple really. I have quite the important interview with quite the important fellow, let me tell ya. Yep, that's right, I'm making it out there in the big leagues, making my mark on the world. And with that, I might as well check my to-do list. There's no review to make. I gotta think of something fast! I can't just pick out anything. I can't just pick out some lonely garbage. Oh god, oh fuck, oh god, oh fuck. I have quite the important interview with quite the important fellow, let me tell ya. I got it! So this month, we'll be talking about Meleeniacs, which is a third-person fighter developed by Axolotl, best known for their work on Regretivator and other various projects, which Regretivator alone is a great game. So being able to manage both Regretivator and Meleeniacs at the same time must be a daunting task. Even with Meleeniacs still being in alpha, I feel like enough time has passed that I feel like it's truly worthy for me to give a proper analysis to. I mean, I'd be a maniac not to. A Meleeniac! This game's been on my radar ever since its release, but I felt like it was needed that I wait before giving any substantial review or discussion. But luckily, with this month's update, I can finally talk about this game, and oh boy is it a doozy. Inspired by Super Smash Bros. And Arsenal, this game's incredibly fast-paced gameplay makes for an incredibly fun but challenging experience. Speaking of Arsenal, if you've ever played a single match of it, then you'd understand how this works. Thanks for watching! Just kidding. You start off with a random weapon and must knock people out of the map or flick somebody on the forehead slightly and let somebody else get the kill for you so that you can get an assist to go up the ranks and move on to the next weapon. Keep moving up a weapon until you reach 35 kills to win a match. The weapon variety in this game is so random, but I can't help but love it. You can go from actual weapons like a sledgehammer and karambit to a gumball machine, switchblade with a janky hitbox, and then there's Jacob. Say hi, Jacob.
Hey guys, it's me, Jacob. What's good?
I think something about weapons being so random in variety is what makes this game work so well in concept. In execution, it kinda comes with a little bit of power creep, like how Chainsaw is just a better version of Yo-Yo, as its rapid attack is weaker than what the Chainsaw provides, which is practically the same thing, but otherwise the game gives certain weapons pretty unique abilities, like the Pow Hammer that has a POW mode that when you activate increases your overall strength, and the Handgun, a ranged explosive weapon which has a big payoff if you manage to hit the shot, because everyone's so fast that it gets really hard to telegraph your shots. It gives the game this sense of always keeping you on your toes, and not having a single second to cool down, because if I were to stop for even a second, I'd be getting flung all the way out of the edge of the map. Speaking of the maps, they're all incredibly unique and creative in their own way. Some of my favorites have got to be Bro Water, High Rise, Floaty, and Oil Spill. Each map has its own centered theme, with some containing their own gimmick to boot, like how periodically Bro Water will get flooded with water, or how Floaty is just one big wipeout map, with spinning obstacles to knock you over. Some others would be Swelter, being a giant ring of rock and spikes that over time will fall into the lava below, and Station having really high speed trains that will run you over if you're not aware. One problem I do have with some maps is that telling where the blast zone is located is pretty difficult, as it feels as if the blast zone adjusts itself between maps, so even having a way to tell how close you are from the blast zone would be nice. Hell, I even went on my way to make a proof of concept. I'll be expecting royalties for this. Even if not every map contains a very unique gimmick, that doesn't stop it from being really fun, for how the game will play out within different game modes. Weapon rotation is one of the more forgettable game modes in my opinion, as all it does is rotate the entire server's weapons every 15 seconds, but I really like Randomizer for how you're constantly stuck with whichever weapon you spawn with until death, and on respawn it changes the weapon you were previously using. This brings in a little bit of strategy to try and pick out your favorite weapon of choice to dominate the competition for as long as possible, as each kill on weapons that contain a special can guarantee a cooldown reset. So for example, if you were to use the Rubber Chicken's airstrike to get a kill, it will reset the Rubber Chicken's cooldown on that special, making it so theoretically you could just keep spawning in airstrikes pretty quickly. Wrench Wrangling, for example, is one of the funniest game modes to play when on Pixel Peril, because of how easy it is to just snag a person and throw yourself off the map with them last minute to ensure a win. And how Explosives Only is just pure chaos. As the name suggests, this game mode only consists of weapons that can cause explosions, And let me tell you, it's pretty bombastic when you lock in hard enough. But there isn't really much to say about it either. It really is just the normal game mode, but with only explosive weapons. Maybe to spice things up, you can add an explosives only exclusive weapon. Like how in Arsenal at the end of a match, you need to kill somebody with the golden knife to ensure the win. You would reach 35 kills, and at 35 kills, the top players need to pull out a button that pressing it will set a countdown for a nuclear bomb to go off. And you need to survive for 35 seconds while the button is pressed. And dying while the button is going down will set you down a rank, so you need to get back up a rank to be able to activate the button again. Once the timer goes off, the nuclear bomb goes off and the game is set. What a concept. A bit of a rough concept, but I think it would go really well and elevate the game mode altogether.
But that doesn't matter now, does it?
New update alert! In the middle of making this, they thought to throw in a few patches for the newest update, but one thing not mentioned was the quiet addition of a fucking cruise missile being added as an exclusive weapon to the explosives only game mode. And frankly, this has made explosives only like 50 times more fun. This is like the equivalent of like when crack hit New York in the 80s. I actually like this update. It makes explosions only incredibly more chaotic and fun, but something I feel like it does is take away from my suggestion, which isn't a bad thing, obviously, it's literally just a suggestion. But now I feel like if my concept were implemented, it would be better off if it were just a separate game mode itself, rather than being added onto explosives only, because I think that would just make it even a little too much, if anything. Maybe if it was its own game mode, you could call it push the button or something.
But it doesn't matter right now, does it? They just removed it. It was a work in progress item that they just secretly dropped out of nowhere. Awesome.
King of the Storm and Catching the Crown, while being fairly similar, bring in the need to be incredibly strategic on how long you can keep the top rank for 60 seconds. King of the Storm is actually pretty easy to cheese if you can manage to keep your distance from other players depending on the map you play. The best maps for King of the Storm in my opinion would be Chester, High Rise, and Castle Tasmania. Catch the Crown is honestly one of my favorite game modes for how if you play correctly you can find incredible paths and jukes to avoid losing the crown. I've had several moments where I've managed to get surprisingly crazy paths to avoid losing it. I wouldn't say there's a best map for Catch the Crown, as it mainly relies on your memory of maps and how you play around them while being chased. But nonetheless, this is still one of my favorites. But how about we have a little bit of a microtransaction break? In the shop, you're met with the wonderful character Stocky, who you can actually talk to get info on specific characters and topics. You're able to purchase things such as daily rotation banners, fling trails, and KO effects, stickers, and even individual win animations, backgrounds, and win music, and bundles which may contain some of the aforementioned items. All items you can buy with spools, which is the in-game currency that you can get after each round or buy with Robux. During weekends, the amount of spools you can get is doubled, although playing on weekends is a great way to grind spools. It makes it so that weekdays are not as good for grinding. All of the items you can buy are very uniquely designed and allows for customizability to your liking, so it's really fun to see. But something I would really like to see is even further customization, allowing for things such as the possibility of having randomized KO effects, fling trails, win animations, backgrounds, and music. Maybe in the future, you can probably even introduce announcers that will say stuff whenever you get a kill, or even when you spawn in or die or stuff like that. Or maybe little keychains and cosmetics you can apply to your weapons or character. Speaking of characters, you have a pretty snazzy selection of 5 whole characters to choose from. You got Garbo, your starter character, a robot who's a fine-tuned balanced character with 0 stat buffs, debuffs. He's just a pretty good character overall for a starter. Mariana, my absolute favorite character, she's a much more floaty character, relying on better ragdoll control and increased run speed, but slower acceleration being the cutest character in the game. Matador, a glass cannon character with better smack power and run acceleration, but very lacking in ragdoll control. Diablo, a sentient pinata that has a big buff smack power but has low run acceleration. And finally, Boggles, a goofy old clown who is much more of a bouncy character that can recover quickly and jump higher than the rest of the characters, but struggles in ragdoll control and acceleration. All these guys are incredibly fun to use, but I can't get over how much fun I have playing Mariana. Even despite the character design, how cute she is, I actually just enjoy her the most. She just has the perfect stats for the way I play. But with that, I feel like there's still a lack in the character department. Maybe you can make a character that is heavily focused on speed with low ragdoll recovery and fast attacks with low damage. Maybe even base their theming around stars and make them really blue with hints of yellow. What a concept. Each character in the game also has a specific recovery ability that they can use to return to the map without dying. Garbo has a simple jump recover, Mariana's recovery is a more floaty recovery like Princess Peach, but you start off with a little jump boost in the air. Boggles has multiple short jumps, Matador has a dash move that applies a fire debuff on people if touched, and Diablo has a big jump that ends with a slam when they landed. The slam attack itself is incredibly powerful and knocks people out of the map very far, which definitely will need a nerf in the future.
And what would you know? They did patch it right before I could even upload this. My fucking god.
But I would be lying if I said I wasn't having so much fun pulling off these massive kill streaks with Diablo's slam attack. In addition to each character having their own ability, each character has respective skins that you can obtain with spools, Robux, or leveling. On the topic of leveling for a second, I really like how they introduced this new leveling system. It works similar to how a typical battle pass system would introduce leveling to their games, but instead of having to give my arm, my leg, and my soul, you can unlock up to 175 different cosmetic items for free. Going back to the skins for a second, I just want to highlight how high quality and good looking these skins are, with my personal favorites being the CD player and Meowiana skin for Mariana, with the CD player being my favorite one for how it seamlessly incorporates the Frutiger Arrow style. Not only do the skins in general have great models, but without repeating myself, I decided to go over my long list of slay perfections that I honestly love way more than I should. You can click the logo and it makes clanking noises. Stocky gets an entirely new outfit during Double Spool weekends, and I honestly love it way more than the actual design. The snarky dialogue between characters during matches. The fact that Jacob's special is just him spitting on you. Some stickers and KO effects are literally just the most random stupid shit ever, and I love that. You can just run into glass like it's nothing. The game's whole aesthetic is actually based on the 1999 animated series Crashbox, which I'm pretty sure most people aren't even aware of. These little sounds in the menu. And finally, Jacob. Oh, and with that, it seems like it's my time to leave. But I'm going to miss my big meeting with the big boss now, would I?
Roll, fight the power! Roll, fight the power!
Daria, do you know why I invited you into this meeting today?
I assume it has something to do with Meleeniacs, right?
Indeed it does. You see, here at the Axolotl Sun, we strive for pure bliss and enjoyment to our players. And that's where I need you to play a very, very special part. Would you like some grapes and peanuts?
Okay. So, what do you need me for?
I need you to give our game a positive rating in your review.
That's it?
Okay. I'll be completely straight with you here. David's been on my ass recently, man, and we haven't been really receiving any traction with this one. So to put it simply, I need you to review my team's game so that I can get like crazy spike in players, and so my ass doesn't have to deal with the big bazooki upstairs.
Okay, first off, calling him the Big Bazooki is crazy glaze. But second off, are you sure you want me for the job? Is there anyone else?
Well, the whole team is busy with work on Regretivator, and the scripting team,
Hey bro, your 15-minute break's over, get out.
they've been busy too. So in simple terms, you're our last resort.
Alright, but let me cut you a deal here. I'll upload my review, but in exchange, you gotta offer up something in return.
Anything.
I want you to add my own weapon to the game, but I'll sweeten the deal for you here. I'll do an edit of your game.
You haven't done one in years, though. Are you sure you got this?
Listen, Yuke, this is my one big chance to prove myself here. So as long as we have a deal, I'll get you what you want. Alright?
Alright. You got a deal.
Stay at the bar, move the unit. We gon' do it. Take it far. Top dog, stay with us. Running on this. Don't run, flow. Come on. Say speed rain, speed rain. We back, we back, we back. Say speed rain, speed rain. We back, we back, we back. Yeah, jump higher, yeah.
I asked them if they could add a Keyblade reference to the game, and they told me to go fuck myself. Well, that was Meleeniacs. Overall, I think it's a truly amazing game that it really innovates the platform fighter genre on Roblox. In fact, if it was somebody's first time playing Roblox, it's probably one of the games I'd recommend them to try. While yes, there is the issue of wanting more content that's actually already in it, I feel like what we have so far is enough to be a pretty fun experience for a short little bit of time, and with the frequent updates that's being announced and leaked on the Discord server, I feel like you can expect a lot of more content to come out sooner than later. I just hope over time this game can flourish in popularity and gain even more content than it has, like my new character, XX Supersonic Star 6XX. He's the most powerful character in the game, stronger than everybody, all the characters combined, and he's blue, cool, and he's got a bunch of stars on him. What a concept.
I'm a wheelman.